Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the GallowgateShots YouTube channel and podcast. We are here. It is Sunday afternoon, straight after the 2-1 defeat at the hands of Chelsea. So we are here with your match reaction. I am your host today, Kris, joined by Scott and Joe. We're going to dive straight into it. So Newcastle starting 11, big shock, Joe. Anthony Gordon was missing from the starting, well, not just the starting 11, but missing from the match day squad. He did travel with the lads, but he's missed a game due to injury. Just when you think it can't get any worse, one of our star players is out with an injury, mate.
I know, it feels like last season, doesn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I was disappointed, but I thought to myself, you know what, Barnes is, top scorer of the season. He's done well. So as far as backup positions go, we could be doing a lot worse than having Barnes come in. So whilst I was thinking it was a blow, obviously, I wasn't absolutely good thinking it would be I suppose, the deciding factor in the result of the game. I still feel that, although, I know Barnes, we'll get into it, didn't have a great game, and you could argue Gordon would have made more of it. I still don't think that Gordon probably would have made all the difference going into, obviously, haven't seen what we saw. Obviously, we'll never know. But
yeah, there was another change, Scott. So on the right-hand side, just as we predicted, so Miggy gets his chance, and it's against one of the Premier League big boys. Comes in against Chelsea. We're probably going to see it again in a few days' time in the Cup, and probably against Arsenal as well. But yeah, Almiron got a shout on the right-hand side, something which we've been asking for, but it was always going to be a tough ask for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's barely played at all this season, throw him in at the deep end's probably not even the right analogy, to be fair. He was dunked in by his ankles, bless him. They could come up against Chelsea. But yeah, I mean, people were calling for the change. And he did come in, and I think to kind of phrase, he tried, bless him, and I think that's what Almiron does, doesn't he? He tries and didn't have, again, just like Hall, I think, not Hall, sorry, like Barnes, he was never really going to have the best of games. It was doomed from the start, unfortunately, just the way that we've lined up there. But then I don't think anyone would have going into that game. I think the tactics were quite bad to start, to be honest. Going into that, it wasn't the
Chelsea come out of the traps. They really do. Chelsea come out of the traps, and they've got the ball in the back of the net in the first few minutes, Joe. And you're looking at certain movements in that build up. Like I said, it was so early on. But the worrying thing for me, and I know we have addressed this previously, and everybody is fully aware of this, but just how slow our centre backs are is unbelievably worrying. So one counter attack, one cutting through ball through, and the one-on-one with the keeper, and it's unbelievably frustrating. And I think it's Dan Burn in the middle of the field. I think Dan Burn and Bruno go towards the ball. Then Dan Burn's the one that just goes, I'm going to do that extra bit and go towards the player. He just drops his shoulder and he's around Burn, and Burn's in no man's land at that point. And you're thinking, right, how? And luckily for us, obviously, that goal does get ruled offside. But you just knew that it was going to be a tough start of the game after that.
Scary thing was, that wasn't even the last time it happened. There was at least one other occasion where Burn pushed up to almost midfield, leaving that gap. It's exactly the same. Well, if I remember rightly, it was very similar to how Welbeck scored last week, for Brighton. Burn caught out of position in midfield, trying to push up. He's done it quite a lot this season, but this game in particular, both him and Cher had moments against Palmer where they were pushing up out of line. They were trying to man mark. Palmer, we'll talk about Palmer properly in a second, because that kid is just, I know he's good, but my God, he is absolutely unbelievable, especially this game. But Cher and Botman, I wish Botman was there. Cher and Burn would just take turns pushing up, getting absolutely done by one touch from Palmer, and then all of a sudden they're on a massive counter attack. Yeah, it was offside that time, but it just kept happening. I think once we scored, not to jump too far ahead, but once we scored, we dialed that back a little bit, and we weren't quite as, what's the word I'm looking for, like
we're looking a bit caught
in
the headlights early on, though, Joe. That's what
definitely,
it looked like.
Definitely, yeah. Madueke had Hall's number so many times in the first 20 minutes. I thought Hall really grew into the game as time went on, but I was really worried in those first sort of 15, 20 minutes because he really struggled in the first, I think even 5 minutes or whatever it was. Madueke managed to get a decent ball in past Hall, and you thought to yourself, oh, okay, is it going to be one of them times? You know, you had Gusto helping out as well. He was defensively solid against Barnes. So it's like, yeah, early doors, it looked a little bit sketchy, but I thought we managed to really up at a level, especially towards the end of the first half after we scored.
I do agree. Just to touch on their goal, Scott. It comes from Palmer again. Palmer's the one that creates that counter attack, and then it goes to the left hand side to Neto, and Fabian Shaw comes in like a steam train and completely misses that challenge. I think even if he had made that challenge, he may be in trouble, Fabian, because he's never ever going to win it. Of course, he's not. But he commits himself rather than being a bit more level headed and a bit more of a. Do you know what it is? He's a seasoned professional, Fabian Shaw. He knows for fine well if he doesn't make that challenge, it's probably going to result in a goal. Neto's just got a free pass to Jackson, I believe it is, and Jackson just slots it in the back of the net, and it's just that counter attack once again. And just I'm going to go back to it, that lack of pace which we have.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a lack of pace, but it's also a lack of awareness from, and I don't want to single out an individual player, but Dan Burn is jogging with Jackson. It realizes, and then you see him try to pick up his pace, and he hasn't got much to begin with, but he does kind of pick up his pace when he realizes he's in the trouble, when he sees Cher do what he does. I think Cher does that because he's got Tino ahead of him, so he knows he's not the last man back. So if he does take out the player, he avoids a red card unless he absolutely clatters him, and it's a dangerous, he gets done for like serious foul play. But yeah, I mean, you just don't do that. Like you then leave Tino in a situation where he's running back to the goal. He can't turn his back on the player. He's really going to be then 1-on-1 with, well, 2-on-1 really, because you've got the two Chelsea players, and we saw what happened, and you'd expect more from Cher, but it was almost carbon copy, like Joe said, of the Welbeck goal last week, where we've just got our centre backs pushing too high a line against pacey midfielders and attackers, which we'll kind of be doing. I know he made a joke there, he wishes Botman was back, but I think people are forgetting Botman isn't the fastest defender either. Like, I don't think we'll be in much better position even with Botman on the field, because he hasn't got that much pace to begin with either. So I think the problem is we've got lack of cover from our central midfielders. They're all pushing forward, and there's no one. There's no one playing, and I'm going to say it, playing the Longstaff role, who's going to sit back and be like, okay, you boys go forward, and I'll stay back, and I'll protect the back line while you go up and do your attacking role. There's no one doing that when you've got Joelinton, Tonali, and Bruno on the field. And it left the gaps, and it happened a few times before the goal. But I do want to say, I mean, it came from an absolute peach of a pass from Cole Palmer. We've seen Joe Willock do it last season playing in Isak. We've seen Shaw do it sometimes even. Joe Linton's played that ball a few times. And, it's because it's called Palmer, it'll get, replayed time and time again. But it is an absolutely fantastic pass. It is a great ball, splitting the two defenders, and, can't take anything away from that. But I think Fabian Shaw could do a lot better. I think Dan Burn could maybe, not be jogging when that play starts. When he sees Jackson running, he could maybe try and track him a bit better. But I think he knows he's going to get done on toast anyway.
I think Dan Burn had a very tough first half, to be fair. Just making the wrong decision every single time, and you could tell that he wasn't comfortable, and he was getting turned in knots at times. But I'm guessing people probably think that this is a bit of a downbeat one, but the positive which I'm taking is our goal, because Joe, that is a well-worked goal from our point of view. We don't see much of the ball up until this moment, but it's a fine team goal, that it really is.
If by team goal you mean Tino Livramento, who was playing every single position on the pitch during that build-up. He went from right back to midfield at the left wing. He was fantastic. No, it was a really well-worked goal. Just again, driving forward, catching them out. I do think that Tino pushing forward and being that extra man in each of those little transitional periods going up did help a lot, but it was well worked. They did really well to stay onside both times. I think there was a little bit of worry as to whether it was onside or not, but it was clearly onside.
Can we just address the moment where it went to VAR? So it went to the little cabin thing that they're sitting, wherever the hell that is. And there's one angle, and it was just the sun just beaming in. And I was thinking,
not a good
that's
look,
going to wreck us.
when you consider that semi-automated offsides are meant to be coming in soon, God knows when. Is it December? Is it? I mean,
no idea.
But it's just a perfect example of how even something as as powerful and as big as the Premier League can still be the victims of something so simple like just a bad camera angle causing a sun glare. This is why we need these the more advanced technology coming in, but it was almost laughable. But it was onside. It was great that Isak managed to get that goal. He's only had the one against Spurs so far, and there's been so much talk around his confidence, around his not his ability, because we all know what his ability's like, but it's just his general form. I thought Isak today in general, just to go on a bit of a tangent, he did a lot more as a lone striker than I've seen him perform in previous games. I thought he was a lot more on the ball. I do think he did too much in that. I think he was compensating for the midfield quite a lot, coming in quite deep, almost doing what Harry Kane did at Spurs in his later years, which wasn't good to see. But back to the goal, it was really well worked, good ball in. And at that point, you're thinking to yourself, it's confidence. It's confidence that we need, and we're shoring ourselves up at the back. We're starting to actually press them. If getting a half time at 1-1 and regroup, and at that point, okay, we weren't expecting to make changes in personnel, but you thought we can come back out now and we can start to really press them. And well, it didn't take long, did it?
Didn't. 2 minutes it took, Scott. 2 minutes, and it's called Palmer. And do you know what it is, right? Don't bite me head off. Yeah, if Dubravka doesn't save that, he is getting absolute pelters. He is getting hung, drawn, and quartered. Nick Pope, he should be saving that all day. I don't even think Palmer thinks it's going to go in. I think Palmer's just trying to test the keeper because it's so early on in the second half. And I know it's a cliche thing to say, to be beat at your near post, goalkeeper shouldn't be doing it. But there's a gap of about 2 foot between Nick Pope and the post, and he gets beaten. And it's unforgivable for a keeper. And I think you see from Nick Pope's reaction, he knows he's messed up there.
Yeah, I mean, I put a joke on our WhatsApp group saying it's Dubravka in goal, because it was, beating at these left bottom corner, because we all know what happened last season with that. But yeah, I mean, we've seen it a few times. I think last season, early second half goals, we just seem to come out at second halves and we're still asleep. We're still, eating our orange segments or whatever it is they do at halftime these days. I don't know if that still happens, but it seems to be whatever was said. It just takes a few minutes for it to sink in, and we seem to just be, still a bit lethargic, still a bit whatever is going on is still going on, and we're just like, oh, we've kicked off, we're still playing. And Chelsea just absolutely capitalized on that, and I think we lose the ball in the middle of the field, which isn't great.
Sloppy play. That happens
time and time again today. By the way, the midfield were honking throughout, losing the ball, sloppy passes. But Chelsea capitalized on it, and you kind of felt today that when we pulled back the goal, Chelsea always had an answer with another goal, and they never really looked like they wanted to get more than just one up on us, which reminded me of us at home, where we never really looked to kill teams off at times. And, that's always leaves St. James's feeling a bit nervy at times. And you're always thinking, oh, God, the other team's going to equalise and what we're going to do. But the difference was you always felt like Chelsea could just pull out another goal if ever that happened. So you always feel like, oh, if we equalise, Chelsea can't score again and again and again, and they had that chances to do that, and they lacked that killer instinct to get 3-4 goals, but they could have easily have done so today. And
I think that was a surprising thing, Joe, is the fact that when Chelsea took the lead early on in the second half, when they went 2-1 up, I think everybody's thinking, right, this could get a bit sloppy now. Like from our point of view, I was expecting them to go on, like Scott said, at least get another couple, because we did look shaky at that point.
Yeah, he did. Neto hit the post a couple of minutes later. off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what other chances they had straight after, but I remember they were still carving us out a few times. We were really sloppy, and as Scott mentioned, our midfield, man, I'm really sick of our midfield. Not to dig out the players individually, but I just feel like the system that we're working on with them three, Tonali, Bruno, and Joe Linton, they're too similar. They're too similar, and it was causing us so many issues with the balance. And we were just getting overrun in midfield. There were a couple of times where Bruno was just giving away sloppy balls, or he would get tackled. Maybe there were one or two times where he got a fortunate foul drawn upon him, so he was able to get the free kick. But he was lucky. God, Joe Linton again.
Under hitting passes with Joe Linton.
Yeah, there were times where he could have easily made like just the simple pass. There was a time when Bruno was free or like Cher was free, but he was trying to basically do what Cole Palmer did, which was turn the player and press forward. But the Chelsea midfield weren't giving him that, and he would just give the ball away, or there were just so many times where it would happen, and we were gifting them those opportunities. That's the thing. Chelsea weren't even spectacular. We gifted them so many opportunities, and because their players are good, are really good, and good enough to, make the right decisions and do when the time comes. That's when they punished us. But yeah, I mean, I could go to town midfield for the days. Like I think.
I think why we're there though, Joe. I think why we're there because you mentioned Isak as well. You're seeing sometimes, like you said, Isak trying too hard. There's an opportunity around where Isak just keeps the ball, and you're thinking just square it. And it's we're 2-2 at that point, but he just doesn't do it. And we saw it last week against Brighton where he's just trying that bit too much, similar to what you see with Bruno at times as well. And you're thinking, just come on, like just look up, know your surroundings, and it was unbelievably.
He saw it. No, yeah, he saw it. I mean, that chance, the one where he gets it from Reece James, and then all he had to do was square it to Joe Linton. But yeah, like you say, he was trying too hard, and at that point, Chelsea just they come back and defend and take the ball off us, and you think to yourself, we're not getting a goal at this point. If that's, I know it's frustrating. I'm reluctant to criticize Isak too much when he's trying, and he actually is one of our most creative players, but we need more of that around him. Gordon has that to an extent, but you look at Tonali and Joe Linton, they don't provide that. They're good runners, they're good physically on the ball, but we don't have. That's why I honestly think Joe Willock needs to start more games. I know he's only coming back to fitness, but I think if we can, we need to start him. We need those runners to go in. And also, Joe Willock's
passing. That's sacrificing Joe Linton to do that?
Yeah. I genuinely think that change needs to happen, because we are missing a player in midfield who's capable of making those runs, but also it's the close quarters passing in the final third around the box.
Yeah.
We're missing that quality. And there were a couple of times where Joe Willock, it didn't quite work out, but he would do little dinks or just little soft passes, and the weighting on his balls are so good. I just think we need more of that, and we don't have it right now with the current midfield. It's not an easy one. It's not an easy problem to solve, but I do think that if we can get Joe Willock into the side and do what he does best, then it could help massively supporting Isak, because that's what Isak's missing. He's isolated so much. He doesn't have that midfield runner because the wingers are too far out. They're on the byline. They're just getting basically man-marked by the fullbacks, and we're having to pass it back to Bruno, who then half the time passes it back to Cher, and we're just lost for ideas. So...
we look better with Joe Willock on the field today, without a doubt. I mean, I know it was later on in the game, so there was tired legs all around, but he was, like Joe was saying, he was getting the ball forward. He was linking up well with Hall, I thought. I know Kelly came. I can't remember if Kelly came on with Joe Willock or if it was afterwards, but then Kelly came on as well, and obviously, I think they moved Joe Linton out to the left so Willock could play, or they were doing that interchange, which works. Because for me, I know people, and I do want to comment on the booing when the substitutions happened. I didn't agree with that at all from the away side. I know I heard it on the telly, I wasn't sure, but we've got a few of the lads who were in the away end, and they said it was all fans booing when it was, I think it was Murphy, Tonali came off, and I think it was when Willock came on.
The subs at that time, Willock replaced Barnes and Murphy replaced Miggy at that point.
Yeah. So there was booing happening. So
Oh, sorry, it was triple sub
It's
because
not
Longstaff came
played.
on for Tonali as well.
Yeah, it's a triple change, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I don't know who the boos were aimed at, but it's not on to do that. But it just doesn't. I think fans were criticizing other fans last week for doing it. I think it was Man U fans were doing it. Maybe there was some fans doing it on Twitter. So you kind of be doing it one week and then doing it yourself the next week.
To be fair, I didn't pick up on the boos or anything like that. To be fair, for far as we know, maybe something completely different, which was happening today. We know obviously how quick things
potentially.
Yeah.
But anyway, like I'm saying, it's just Joe Willock on that field. I'm sacrificing either Tonali or Bruno than Joe Linton. I think Joe Linton and Willock play well, but not together as a pair with Bruno on the field, because you've got two overbalanced on the left. And I think I mentioned this in a match preview the other week, where we then leave a lot of space on the right in the middle, which I can't remember which team it was, but they completely exploited that and broke and scored. You need either Joe Linton to play on the left if you're playing Willock, and then you'll have another midfielder like Sandro, Tonali, and then Bruno, or you sacrifice Tonali, and then you're playing Willock and Joe Linton with a left-sided midfielder, so you haven't got that imbalance. But
the later subs got just to jump with the later subs as well. Osula replaced Joe Linton at the 89th. That was a double sub, and Kelly came on in replace of Hall. Then it was just after that, Scott, when Chelsea get awarded a penalty. Do you know what it is? Watching the game straight away, I went, nah, no way, not a chance in hell, not a chance. I don't even know how long it took VAR. It took them about 6 minutes to come up with that, something ridiculous like that. And you're thinking, but it didn't take 6 minutes. Of course it didn't. It was a handful of minutes, but you're thinking, come on, lads. It's blatantly obvious that that's not a penalty.
There is contact. He does touch his shoulder, but yeah, I mean, because he makes such a meal of it, and because he goes down in the way he goes down, it's overturned, and it's right to be overturned. Don't think he gets booked for simulation.
No, he doesn't. The only player that comes out with a yellow card is Longstaff. Longstaff's the only player that comes out with a yellow card because he runs over the ref and tells the ref point blank, "You messed up, lad. Like, you completely messed up." Because the rules, and it's a yellow card, VAR can't step in and the referee can't rescind the yellow card despite the referee having the wrong decision, which is mental. But then Dan Burn did go over the referee and said, "Well, hang on a second. Like, you're just awarding a penalty for Australia. It's a booking to the player for simulation." Obviously, the referee disagrees with that. But
it's a crazy rule because there was the other incident where Bruno on the edge of their box where they haven't intervened because they don't class it a goal scoring opportunity. But then, like, the pundits at half time say, "Well, if that's Isak, that is a goal scoring opportunity because he gets to the ball." You cannot say it's not because of the player that's getting the ball.
Yeah, I think the commentary might have messed up with that mind. I think that's what that was, because I think the player it doesn't make a difference with the player. I think VAR would only ever step in if it was inside of the box. Yeah, the red card.
Yeah.
The
so
red card.
Or it was in the box because he's last man. Yeah. Will he get to the ball? Is it a goal scoring opportunity? Not is it a penalty? We had one, but again. For me, going back to the penalty decision, it's not a penalty. Like he's touched his arm, but it's not enough for him to go down in the way he's went down.
But having said that, Scott, I just want to stick with you because we're discussing that moment with Dan Burn earlier on in the game. Dan Burn is very lucky that Nick Pope is very quick off his line. Nick Pope comes and clears the ball, and Dan Burn is a very, very lucky man at that point.
Yeah, speaking of last man back, I think it's Madueke. He grabs his arm when he's running, and if he doesn't grab his arm, Madueke would get that ball. If it's not for Nick Pope rushing off his line, clearing the ball, and like I say, if Nick Pope isn't there and Madueke is the one run for the ball, he's stopping him getting the ball. He's last man back, and it would be a red card all day. That, but because Nick Pope is playing that sweeper keeper role, and again, if Martin Dubravka's in goal, he's not coming out to get that, so it would be a red card and would be down to 10 men, and probably, I don't know. I don't know where the ball was at that time. It may be a penalty even because of those crazy rules of where's the ball in the relation to the player, like we saw a couple of weeks ago with one of our penalties that we got, where they were looking at where the ball was in relation to the foul. Crazy. I don't know. I don't even know the rules anymore. It's crazy with that sort of stuff.
I don't think Harper would do. I don't think Harper would do.
No.
what I do want to mention, Joe, is do you know what? This is the second week in the probably more weeks in a row that I'm going to mention the referee.
Oh my God.
Come on. I think it was
Absolutely
a Wolves manager last week that mentioned the likes of the big teams. He mentioned Man City. Maybe subconsciously the referee award those decisions without realizing. I think he's spot on, because any single time a Chelsea player went down, the referee was so quick to blow his whistle. And you saw a lot of our lads getting frustrated. I think Barnes was getting unbelievably frustrated because anytime he went near a player, they were just dropping like flies. And it's so frustrating to watch. And it's so annoying that the referees are getting conned by it every single time.
Yeah.
And I think, to be fair, at the end of the game, I think Chelsea did pick up more cautions than what Newcastle did. But it was a performance from the referee where you just weren't confident at all that he was ever going to make a right decision.
Well, alluding to that Bruno incident, he was right in front of it. You saw the camera angle. He had a perfect view. And what is Bruno just diving? If he's diving, booking for simulation, you got to commit one way or the other. From that moment on, you just think to yourself, this is not going to go very well. There was a point, was it in the second half? I think it was like around 60-minute mark where it got quite hairy and it just felt like the ref was in danger of losing the game completely. Chelsea weren't getting decisions they thought they should have gotten, us vice versa. I think the Chelsea fans were singing "You're not fit to referee,"
Yeah, with a penalty decision.
Yeah, exactly. And you think to yourself, Christ, if both sets of fans are against you, then you're doing a pretty bad job. Yeah, I mean, we've already highlighted multiple incidents where they've made mistakes, and yeah, I get it. It's a hard job, It's not always easy to get everything right, but you've got VAR there supposedly for that reason. But though, yeah, you say when Chelsea they had the ball, there were so many times where they just went down so easily. I do think they were calling the ref quite a lot, and they just bought it every time. Like you say, Barnes on the left-hand side, there was a point in the second half where we broke on the counter-attack, and I think Gusto and someone else, it might be Matawiti, but I can't remember, basically just beat the absolute living crap out of him, took him down, and somehow Chelsea got the free kick because Barnes was trying to get the ball back, and you just think, what have you got to do? What have you got to do? It seemed like a complete double standard, but I mean, we're used to seeing this with referees, aren't we? In the Premier League nowadays, it's getting worse.
Sadly, we just accept it now.
What can you do? Yeah.
So
long stop and getting a yellow card for telling him he's doing his job wrong, and he ends up agreeing with them.
So Newcastle now sit 12th in the Premier League. We're starting to drop a little bit. We've been in the top half of the league so far up until this point. I think this season, I think yesterday we dropped to 11th. Today we're now sitting 12th on 12 points. Another tough fixture coming up against Arsenal at the weekend. Obviously, we do have the cup game midweek as well. It's tough. It really is tough at the moment. And the teams that you would think that we're going to be competing with this season, likes of Chelsea and Brighton, they've now just got 2 wins on the bounce tour as well. And you think, it's a tough one to take. I think this performance is unbelievably hard to try and describe because there was some decent moments in the game. But Chelsea didn't look fantastic, and I think Chelsea still had another gear that they could have possibly went into, whereas I think we were at full capacity. I don't think we could have done any better with the clientele which were on the field. I think we struggled from start to finish in certain moments of the game. Yes, there was one that great team goal, Tino, that got us up the field, like Joe mentioned earlier. But I don't know. Each game is completely different performances, and it's really annoying. And God knows what Eddie Howe's thinking, going back and trying to fix things. Because is it the midfield that's broken? Is it the lack of pace? Is it the fact that we can't score that many goals? Yes, we did get one from open play, thank God, today, because it's been so long since it. But there's so many question marks, and I think there's going to be more questions and less answers coming our way this season. I think without being overly downbeat, I think we're in for a very tough season. I really think we'll struggle to click this season, and that is really worrying. And I think it might be to the point we might just hover around mid-table from now on in.
I think the only bright side that I'm holding on to is that if you look at Chelsea this time last season, they were in a very similar position to us, and they weren't clicking at all, and they were having a very similar performance-wise, they looked like a team of players who'd never played together, and they weren't getting results. And then look where they finished at the end of the season. They finished above us, and they got.
That's what I like, Scott. Optimism.
Do you know what I mean? But if you want to put
Right.
if you want to look on that side of things, that's all you've got to think about, right?
Yeah.
We're still early in the season. There's still a lot of football to play. We could go on a massive run come December, January. I mean, if you think about it, we haven't clicked. We haven't been seeing the identity in the football that we know we can play. If that clicks and that happens, and we go on a run of wins, we could easily get up a table. It's only like 3 points, 4 points between where we are in 6th. It's not like it's a gulf of points.
At the minute, it's 4 points.
Yeah. So it's not like even it's like, oh, we're 7, 8 points behind. It's a win and a draw. That's all.
Still very, very early in the season.
Very early on.
Just shy of a quarter on the just shy of a quarter of the way through the season.
The media have a great way of spinning. Oh, you're in 12th. Oh, it's the blah blah blah. You've got this. It's like, yeah, but we've got 12 points. It's not a bad tally for this part of the season. The problem is everyone else has got 12 points and all. It's like there's a big chunk of teams
really
from
competitive
12 to about 4th, which are on like 12 to 15 points. It's like
I'm looking at the league table there now. So you've got Spurs that are sat in 8th and 13 points. Then you've got Man United who are sat on 11 points and they're in 14th. So there's that middle table. It's that mini league that Rafa used to talk about.
But that mini league now has got so big. It's not. There's now not like the top 4 and then the middle 8. It's now the top 4 and the rest of the league.
I'd say even top 3.
That's what it's been like for the last couple of seasons, and even now the bottom 3 are kind of catching up to that rest of the league. It makes the league a lot more interesting, but unfortunately for like teams like us, we're just like, Christ, we're 12.
I just think my issue is that last week we're neck and neck with Brighton in the league at that point, and they get the 3 points. They jump that bit. Same with Chelsea today. Chelsea have now got those 3 points, so that gap will start to form unless we get our act together. It will. It really will. I don't think anybody can disagree with it. There hasn't been a performance this season where we've been confident and thought, I would deserve that, like we really did. I think it's yes, there's been moments in the games where we have been the better team, but we haven't been convincing for a full 90 minutes. I don't think we have.
That's what I'm saying. When it clicks and we are performing and we do get those results, that's when you'll start seeing us get up that table when we do start winning those games. Hopefully it comes sooner than later. So let's see what happens. And we've got
fingers crossed.
A nice January transfer window where we've got a nice 70 million of Gehi money to spend.
On somebody other than Gehi.
Hopefully, right way.
Right, I'm going to end it there, boys. Thanks very much. Thanks everybody who has been listening or who has joined us on YouTube as well. It means a lot to us. If you're on YouTube currently, just like the video, helps us out massively. Become a subscriber if you're not already. If you do want to give an extra bit back, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member. If you're listening to the audio as well, just give us a little 5-star review as well and a little comment, and that helps us out as well. Thanks, boys. We will be back. I'll be back Monday night with the All Smiling Faces podcast. There will be another match preview going out most likely for the Chelsea game as well. That'll be great. And obviously in the week
just watch the other one. Just watch the other one.
Yeah, just watch the other one. Then we'll remember I've just suffered a defeat as well to them. We will have more. We'll have more match reactions after that cup game. We'll have match preview for Arsenal and so much more coming your way as well. So thanks everybody. See you next time. Ta-ra.